Welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. This is Solo Wargaming with MJ. New little series that I have going on while poor Julie, is out of the count. And hopefully we will be resuming our two-player games very soon. Thank you so much, guys, for your patience on the matter. I myself have been feeling very sick lately. And so, yeah, it's just been a pretty tough 2023 so far. But anyway, we are getting better. And I decided that today we're gonna begin to do a little bit of gaming. All right, I haven't posted much lately. Thank you very much for your support, first and foremost. And before I do anything, I want to welcome all new subscribers. I hope you will come hang out with us during our chats and all of these shenanigans that we do here on the channel. This is Wargaming shenanigans for sure. And role-playing, because we will have role-playing soon, hopefully. All right, I also want to thank all of my patrons. Thank you, guys. You make this all very possible. All right, and now for today's video, we're going to be doing some Wrath of Kings solo. And I have a few tweaks for this game. You will notice in the morale, the way I do morale for my solo game, and the fact that I play with very little model counts, okay? So we are playing with a total of 4 models apiece, and we're going to introduce those models for each of the houses. And this is just a very short, sweet game of Wrath of Kings with a few tweaks to accommodate the solo wargaming. Okay, so it's a lot of fun. All right, if you don't know much about Wrath of Kings, I do have 2-player games that Julie and I have played in the past, and you can refer to those. I will have the name of the playlist in the description box, and I can also have a game or two here in the cards. You can see it in the corner of the video, so if you want to check those games out, you can. But basically, Wrath of Kings was a game by Cool Mini or Not. They killed this game, which I was very disappointed about. And basically, in this game, you have a system called morale, a morale system that is very different from other war games, because your morale, you keep track of your morale, and every time you lose 3 models in the game, you lose 1 morale point. And leader ranks and all that contribute to that, and also any objectives, the motivations that every faction has. Is a sort of an objective mechanic. And so every time your opponent or you achieve your faction's motivation for the game, that your opponent loses 2 morale. Okay, once morale goes down to 0, that's it, the game ends, and the person with the 0 morale loses the game. So it is an interesting mechanic, and that's all I'll say about it. Okay, motivations are very important in this game. They really do drive the game. And the game also has a very interesting defense chart mechanic right on the stat card. So that's another thing about this game that's very interesting. All right, let's get to it. I don't want to say much more. Let's just get playing this game. initiative each round. Nazir will be blue. Goritsi, let's make it red since they're vampires. So red for Goritsi. And we have no morale loss, so we don't have to add that to any of the dice for this round. It looks like Goritsi goes first with a 2. And Nazir has a 1. Goritsi first. Okay, so Goritsi goes first, and my War Zeddies do not, my War Dancers rather, do not have any special abilities. As far as I can see from the card, they do have a couple of cool combat actions, but we're going to wait for those. All right, let's go, and I think I'm going to do a combined activation, and I'm going to include the leader in that combined activation. And let's see, the leader moves a speed of 7, and so do her War Dancers. So we're going to move the leader first. She can activate anyone in her sphere of influence, which is 6 inches. So she has quite a bit of influence here. And so she's going to move. And she can only activate, including herself, up to 3 models. So, because her leadership is 3 based on the fact that this game is so small. This would be like the intro level game in the official rules. Okay, so they're being bold and going right up to the Nazir, and one of the War Dancers does a curtsy in mockery to her opponent. I just love that model. All right. And that ends that activation for turn 1. And now we proceed to Nazir. So it is the Hakar's turn. And here is the Hakar model in the middle. So he's going to do the exact same thing. He is going to do a combined activation. He moves 7 inches, just like the War Dancers. And he's going to go straight for the lead vampire because his motivation is going to involve taking her out. So he's going to do that, and then they're going to stay together. And again, same thing. His sphere of influence is 6 inches. He has a leadership of 3 because of the intro level that I'm using with such low models. And I haven't tweaked that aspect. This game does have very concise army building rules. So that's the part that I really tweaked in order to play with 4 models, okay? So, all right. So they are now closing the distance, and the Hakar simply ignores the vampires mocking little curtsies and stuff. All right, and now the Shield Breaker's turn. He moves a total of 6 inches, and he moves his huge form right down this hill. He's going to avoid the rough terrain, puts him a little bit behind, but he's getting there. At least he avoids some rough ground, and he just comes down ready to do some head bashing. And that's all he can do. He just does his maneuver, and there's no other action. So he skips that. The Rathor moves 6 inches, and he's going to go for the big guy. So he's going to try to move past the troops doing his maneuvers. Let's see. Well, hold on a minute. The leader is in range. Aha! 8 inches is farther than we thought. Absolutely. And she is in line of sight. He's not going to be able to do it, cast it on her, but he can cast it on the leader, which is the target. And what he can do is magic Effronti Blast. So he can blast her with a magical bolt. And that is 1 die attack. And let's see, it says bounce. When the dice for this attack are assigned, this model may assign 1 additional die up to 1 additional enemy within 3 inches of a target, ignoring line of sight. Okay, well then he could attack this one or this one. Let's do it on that one. Since she's not in line of sight, he could attack her. So 1 enemy. All right. First, let's do the attack and see what happens. Effrontery blast. Okay, and the dice are rolled. We have a 9 for the blue die, and 8 for the red die. So an 8 is a hit on the War Dancer. She only has 1 life. And let's see, no other special abilities. And so she is zapped. And now a 9 gives us a hit on the leader. She has 3 life. And so she takes 1 wound. We're going to mark that wound. And a good start for House Nazir. And so she has 2 wounds left. We're going to mark that. And 1 vampire screams. And she disintegrates with the effrontery blast. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Let's get going. And now, with that move, this ends this ends round 1. So it ends Nazia's turn. And we now are in round 2. And before I forget, Goritsi loses 1 morale. And we place that morale into the graveyard with the little model that just died. Rest in peace, little vampire. Round 2 sees blue, which is Nazir. And we have red for the vampires. For House Goritsi. However, they lost 1 morale, so they get to add +1 to the red die. Whoop! 7 for the vampires, which is an 8, and 6 for Nazir. So House Goritsi takes the initiative yet again. All right, so House Goritsi, the dancing master, the lead vampire, she's calculates the situation very carefully. And looking at her abilities and the abilities of her still curtsying comrade here, she cannot use Deadly Flourish. She's still too far away. Both models are still too far away for that ability, which is a very good one. That is an action. That is a combat action. So she uses her charms, typical vampire charms, and says, she whispers, "Come hither," to the opposing leader. So she has to roll a will, 3 dice, and she rolls a will roll. And for every success, he moves 3 inches towards her. It has a range of 9, so it's well within range, and it's targeting the leader. All right. Okay, so she rolls 3 dice and must roll a 6 or under. Her will stat is a 6. So 6 or under. And she rolls an 8. That is a failure. This is a 2 and a 5. So 2 successes, meaning he moves 6 inches towards her. "Come hither," she says. And he immediately obeys and moves up to 6 inches, which puts him in contact with her. Now, that was her action. Well, the arrogance of our little vampire leader here may cost her, because you don't want to have a Ashman Hakar or any of the Ashman swordsmen. If you can avoid it, they're pretty strong in melee. So let's see, it is now their turn, and so he let's see, Duelist is triggered. And also Offensive Mastery 1. Okay. So, that means that, let's see, his attack gain is now, of course, he's going to snap out of his charm. He has 2 dice, but because of Offensive Mastery, he's going to add 1 more. That's a 3-die attack. Oh, no, 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 Goritzi. This could be bad. Her charms may cost her dearly. Okay, we got to reroll a couple of die here. Okay, we get a 7, which is a hit. That is 1 more wound. We get a 3, which is a dodge by the vampire lady, and a 1, which is Sunburst, which is considered a miss. Sunburst is a magical backlash, so we ignore that. So she gets 1 more hit. Oh, she was lucky. That could actually gone a lot worse. But let us check the card again. Going to study the card a little bit more to see what other ability, because these guys have a lot of chain reactions and things during combat. Okay, and the Hakar does give the combat ability Inspire to any enemy-friendly swordsman that is also engaged. So we do need to remember that. Now, Goritzi, these vampires are very arrogant, but she, let's see, 7 inches. She can move, engage that figure, and trigger Deadly Flourish, which is moving an extra 3 inches in a straight line. Okay, here's what she can do. She doesn't have to move the full 7. Let's do her maneuver. I'm going to move her 6 in this direction. She curtsies in front of the swordsman in a very mocking, very polite manner. And then she does Deadly Flourish. So she can move 3 inches in a straight line. It has to be a straight line, which is good. That's what I want. And she can perform a 1-die melee attack against each enemy she passes through. And during this free movement, this model may move through models as long as that movement does not end over a model's base. Okay, she moves closer towards the objective. So Goritzi, you know, they're not stupid. They are arrogant. Gets them in trouble, but not too bad. So she does a 1-die attack, which is a little weaker than her standard attack. And I'm just going to roll that die. I'll roll the die. And she rolls a 7. A 7 gives this guy a hit, which is, he only has 1 wound. And let's see, he is now gone. However, let me see, because when they die, reaction, counterattack, once per attack, no. Let's see what happens. Hold on. Okay, in this case, he is not engaged with the vampire. She just moved through him, attacked real quickly. So, Act with Certainty does not trigger. Although it meets most of the conditions, it does not meet the condition of being engaged. He is not engaged. She is close to an inch away from him. And, okay, let us check. And I'm making sure every angle here. Let's see the definition of engaging. Sometimes you have models that can attack. You know, they have reach and all that. But no, not in this case. 1 more check, and we will make a ruling. The Hakar is the Ashman Swordsman is eliminated without the ability of counteracting, and Nazir loses 1 morale. We are now even in terms of morale, and we have 1 vampire that's going for that objective. However, the Rathor sees it. Oh, maybe she did not calculate this very well. It is their turn. She is the closest model. And let us see. Will he try to fry her with some magic? Or will he just do his melee? And we think we're going to give him a maneuver. He's going to leap on her. Woo! Turn her around. But again, her arrogance just does not stop. And she still gives him a mocking curtsy as he engages her Ferenti strength. All right, checking the cards, and then this battle will then take place. Okay, now the Ferenti strength has sundering, which means that I replace a block result on the chart, defensive chart, with a hit. She does not have any blocks because these guys are all about dodging. So they have speed, not blocking. And there is knockback, 2 inches. So, all right, let's do this. And we have a 7. Reroll that. All right, a 7 and a 1. And so a 7 is a hit. She only has 1 blood, 1 hit point. And that is it for her. And then a 1, which is a miss. Okay, so she is destroyed. She has no other abilities. Let me just check something. We are checking the command abilities. And we have another vampire that is destroyed because of her inability, her lack of insight. And now Goritzi loses 2 morale. Goritzi is down to 3. And Nazir is at 4. And this game, well, it's going to be a short one. And now Nazir has the upper hand this round. The werewolf howls and moves forward as quickly as he can to try and assist his leader. But pretty soon, he may be the only one on the battlefield. All right. It is now Nazir's turn, and this round is just about over. The Ashman swordsman, who sees an opportunity to do their objective, complete their motivation, moves in to engage the leader vampire. Uh-oh. Do we smell a victory for Nasir in this short engagement? Perhaps we will. Let us see. Okay, and the Ashman swordsman does not begin its activation engaged. Therefore, Inspire, a command ability, is not triggered. It would get an extra dice for its attack if it... Now, next turn, if she survives, then yes, Inspire is triggered. Let's see. However, we do have a situation of friendly support here, so let's check that out. Okay, and the Ashman swordsman gets an extra dice because of support or friendly assist, and it's gonna roll its attack on the leader, and we could see a lone werewolf on the battlefield. Let us see. She only has armor 1, so okay, that is a hit, penetrates the armor. And 4. Let's see. So 7 is a hit, and 4 is a dodge. She dodges 1 blow, but takes another blow. Let's me just make sure of something. I just wanted to make sure anytime. So the shield is a 1, so it only requires 1 hit. She has very low armor. And that's why they're always dodging. So, yep, that eliminates the final wound that she has, and the leader screams and is taken down by her own arrogance. Now, here's what happens. She is a leader, and that means she is a rank 1 leader. So let's see. So in my homebrew rules, She's a rank 1 leader, so Goritsi loses an additional morale. That is 2 morale loss because of that leader, rank 1 leader. If it were a rank 2, that would be another morale, and Goritsi would have just lost. But Goritsi has 1 morale left. Now, again, I want to emphasize that in the official rules, when you're playing with more models, for every 3 infantrymen, or for every 3 models that are lost, not just infantrymen, but for every 3 models that are lost, you lose 1 morale. Okay, and then the ranks of the leaders can add additional morale to that as well. We're not playing by those rules, so every time I lose a model, a morale goes with it. And that's the way I'm doing it, because we are playing with such low model counts. And so that is another tweak. I just want to be sure I mentioned that in case I forgot to mention it in the beginning. Okay? So very, very important. Round 3 begins with a lonely werewolf. Okay, well, there is 1 morale left. And by the way, very important as well, because you're probably screaming at me, wait, MJ, you forgot. And you are right. A leader was killed, and therefore this model killed the leader. And so actually we're saying that it's not even that she was killed, maybe. She's taken prisoner, because that is the motivation. Capture the prisoner. So they capture the leader, knock her out, knock out our charming vampire, and take her as a prisoner. And now that next turn, that Ashman can move towards C deployment. And guess what? I lose to morale. Goritsi loses the game. However, it is now round 3, and the werewolf is going to try to save the really the embarrassment to House Goritsi. Let's see what he does. All right. Werewolf is going to howl from beyond. When this model begins its activation, make a will against each enemy within 1 inch. They are not 1 inch yet. Intimidating presence, engaging enemies. Okay, so it has intimidating presence. All right, let us move him. He moves 6 inches, so he's going to move right into contact with the model holding the prisoner. And he's not going to go, he's going to just attack the 1 model. He has shield 1 and 3 hit points, so he's a big boy. Okay, intimidating presence. Enemies engaged with this model must make a will check when performing attack actions. On a 1 or more failures, their attacks suffer -1 attack rate. So that means -1 die. All right. Let's see. We may have a dead Ashman, and then he may counterattack, because these guys, even when they die, they get to friggin' counterattack. So it's freaking crazy. All right. Shieldbreaker howls and swings his giant axe. It's a 2 dice attack. And see what happens to the Ashman swordsman. He's only 1 shield, 1 health. He's a little guy. Ooh, a 9, which is a hit. A 6, which on the swordsman is a dodge. Now, none of his abilities counteract that, so he takes 1 hit. That is enough to take the swordsman out. And let's see. I'm going to give him the will check. Act with certain counterattack. Generated. Mame Pyre ranged and magic. If this model is killed by an attack, did not generate a skull, and is engaged with only 1 enemy, it may perform one of its melee attacks before being removed. Yes, it can perform its attack. That is triggered. Act with certainty is the triggering special ability. And he's engaged with small, make a will check when performing attack actions. So he's going to have to make a will first because of intimidating presence. So let's see if check one. I know one more failures. Okay, so this will check is going to determine whether the Ashman actually makes his attack. And he rolls a 9. He does not get to attack back. He is far too intimidated and just got killed before anything. So the prisoner remains there to be taken by another model if it can. And that is it. All right, well, it doesn't look like Ritzy. I mean, it has 1 morale left. We don't know if it's gonna survive. This is the tough combat here for the Ashman Hakar. He has no support and only has the Rathor. So the Rathor could actually save the day here. Okay, let's just make sure. I'm checking all the card abilities, studying them a little bit before we continue with this ferocious combat. Alright, and the Ashman Hakar gains offensive mastery 1. So he adds 1 die to his 2 dice attack, making it a 3. He could kill this werewolf right here and there. So, oh, let us see. Hey, we have an impressive roll. We have an 8. We have a 5. All right, let's see. An 8 is a hit. So that's 2 hits. In addition, a 5 is armor. So 1 blow is deflected by armor. So that removes that. However, 2 damage. Let's see if there's any defensive abilities. We forgot intimidating presence, so let's correct that now and see what happens. He has a will of 6, so he needs a 6 or under to, otherwise I have to remove 1 more die. Hold on. Oh, a 6! Right on the dot. He gets to keep his 2 hits, and he does 2 wounds. Otherwise, I would have had to remove another die due to intimidating presence. No go. And our good friend has 1 wound left. Oh! Not so fast, Fleabag. The Rathor growls to himself, and he moves a total of 6 inches. So for his maneuver, he is going to touch base with the prisoner marker, and then link up with his other action, and that's all he can do. All right, round 3 is over. Round 4. And now the shield breaker gives an unnatural howl, and that is a will attack against the Hakar. So will is 6, so 6 or under. A werewolf rolls a 5, and the Hakar takes 1 damage. First damage he's taken, and that goes through armor, and that is it. And now he does his action. Intimidating presence does not trigger yet. It will trigger next turn if the Hakar survives. And this game is just about over, by the way. Okay, so let me see. Sundering. Okay. Okay, an 8 and a 6. Yeah. So 8 is a hit and a 6 is a block. So the Hakar blocks 1 hit with his shield, but 1 hit goes through. He is only armor 1, so yeah, so that hit goes right through the armor and gives him another damage point, severely wounding him. Now let me see, there were no other abilities. Okay. Oh, wait, hold. No, 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 no. We have follow through. Follow through 1. Replace 1 block on the defender's chart with a hit. That gives them 2 hits and takes out the leader with 1 blow. So that was a great combo there, doing the Howl from Beyond, doing a damage from that, and then doing an attack that did 2 damage and took him out. All right, so being a leader, now Goritzi has saved face thanks to the werewolf strength, destroyed a leader, which removes 2 morale. He is a rank 1 leader. And now Goritzi and Nazir both have 1 morale. This game could have gone either way. However, round ends, and let's see what happens with initiative. Looks like a 7 for Nazir and 4 for Goritzi. And the Rathor takes the prisoner 6 inches all the way down to deployment zone C. Right there. Okay, and that means that Goritzi loses 2 morale. And that ends the game for Goritzi. Nazir wins the day. However, it is not an easy victory. Very high casualties on both sides. And that is game. A nice short solo game. Not too much complexity. And with just a little bit of tweaking to the army formation rules. And I have nothing to do with House Goritzi's strategy or their decision to employ certain units in the game. You may send all your concerns to House Goritzi itself, and it will have scribes standing by and will answer your concerns in the order in which it is received. And so I have nothing to do with that, really. Thank you, guys. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Again, welcome to all you new subscribers. I hope that you'll hang out with us a little bit. You know, come check out our hobby talks and all that stuff. So, in this new series, while Julie is out, this is Wargaming with MJ, solo Wargaming with MJ. I think that's going to be the new playlist, and all of these videos will go into that new playlist. For bonus videos, check out my Patreon. A lot of this series will also be on Patreon as bonus games and videos. I have a cool 1-hour war games adaptation there, which describes a little bit of a magical tweak that I added to the game, and my patrons will now be able to see an actual game of 1-hour war games. They can expect that on Patreon. Here on the channel, we will continue as well with some of these games, some of this series. It'll take place in both Patreon and YouTube. And we will look at the next game in the next video will be Dark Age Apocalypse, which is another game from Cool Mini or Not. This game, unfortunately, was killed off by Cool Mini or Not, which was very disappointing to me because I really collected a lot of these figures. We collected all the factions, and you know, we really enjoyed this game, and unfortunately it's killed off. So it's very difficult now to find any of the models even. But you know, I have a pretty good collection, so I'm happy with that, and we can continue enjoying this game here on MJ Solo Wargaming. And yeah, that's it. So next video, Dark Age Apocalypse. I'm going to show you a tweak that I have for that game. And we're going to continue on in this series and basically looking at different tweaks and adaptations that I do when I play my solo war games. All right. So more projects coming. There's a big project that I'm already starting. And if you want to further support the channel, you can also go on Wargames Vault, buy Scratch Builder Monthly or any of the Scratch Builder series. What are you waiting for? March is out. Come on, let's go. Just kidding, guys, but definitely your support on with Scratch Builder Monthly helps a lot, so thank you very much. And stay tuned for a chat with Julie, hopefully soon. We have a lot to talk to you about, the channel and stuff, so stay tuned for that. All right, folks, this ends this little video, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to my patrons.